Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one's going to be for episode 73, which is called The Other Side of the Moon. And I thought this was a solid episode. I think they labored a little bit over the whole Orochimaru interaction with Boruto and Sarada to the point where he said a lot without actually saying all that much. And I think that's my end takeaway from this, in that yes, there were a few notable events that happened, but I feel I was expecting more from just what Orochimaru was saying, whereas I felt like he was in character by being super coy about everything and not really basically speaking in riddles. But I felt like they were I wish they would have done a little more with it, because as it is, I kind of feel like I still don't have a clue really what's going on with Mitsuki. Orochimaru, I think, talks to Log about this and mentions that, like, oh, he's in stage 2 now, and like that Orochimaru's interpretation of this is that obviously the whole Mitsuki going to the Leaf Village is to allow him to, I suppose, look at the sun and be guided toward the light, and maybe not as much toward the moonlight. So here's Mitsuki kind of, before maybe fully committing to the light, dabbling with the moonlight. My interpretation of that is it's him kind of being like, okay, I come from this place, people think of me in this way. What if I try to be the evil Orochimaru's son that people kind of think I am? And he's kind of almost testing out, is his will actually to just be like Orochimaru was? And we'll see how that works. That was my interpretation of it, in that, like, that's perhaps one way we're meant to view it. It's Mitsuki trying to do something bad and see how that is compared to how he feels being in the Leaf Village. I did like this scene early on in the episode with Naruto, Tsunade, the advisors, and Kakashi. Shikamaru was there as well. I liked it because it went off what was in the last episode, and I think they did a nice thing with it where they kind of got Tsunade on board and dismissed the advisors again. Like, they're just kind of living in the past. And I like that Kakashi was the one to really bring up the point here. Naruto was just letting the other kind of advisors kind of speak to him, but Kakashi just kind of speaks up and says, more or less, what are we doing here? Like, we shouldn't be here to just criticize Naruto for decisions that he's made that are now in the past. We have to acknowledge the decision that he made, and why he made it, and kind of go from there. And I like that Naruto, in the end, his point was basically, I think what I thought his point always was, and I like that he got it across here, is just that he's been a exceptional shinobi the entire time he's been here. He attended the academy with no problems. He's been no problem on Boruto and Sarada's team, and because he's on, like, the closest possible team to Naruto, Naruto's son is on that team. And again, he had the scene where Mitsuki came over to the house. Naruto's been kind of monitoring this situation because it was his deal with Orochimaru, and from Naruto's perspective, he's giving Mitsuki this chance, and I like that throughout the episode with Naruto, you get that whole idea of, I think in essence, he hid the nature of Mitsuki from so many people to basically stop Mitsuki from becoming another Naruto. What I mean by that is like early Naruto, where everyone in the village knew he was a Jinchuriki, that he had the nine-tailed fox inside him, and because of that he was isolated, just because that knowledge was so out there. I like that this was kind of him protecting Mitsuki from that, of like, if it was just common knowledge in the village that this is Orochimaru's son, Orochimaru like made him, he's not an actual human, if everyone knew that, immediately Mitsuki would be isolated. No one would be able to just treat him normally. Think of how that would affect the rest of the students, maybe outside of the initial ones who obviously are close to him, and then just everyday people interacting with him. Whereas the point he makes with Konohamaru later on is basically that, okay, like, you're shocked because I've told you now, but was there any hint before now that there was any problem with Mitsuki? And because of that, all of the characters who we know are from the Leaf Village and they have that attitude. They're willing to give Mitsuki a chance because of that. The Leaf Village, characters don't tend to make those snap judgments of just there's no hope for this character. That's part of the theme of Naruto, like why Naruto never gave up on Sasuke. And it's meant to be a similar thing here in a way with Boruto and Mitsuki. Naruto and Mitsuki on the more adult side of things. He's not just going to... Naruto's saying that he believes in Mitsuki and that there's more to this than just Mitsuki's a traitor now and is kind of turned and is just like Orochimaru now. I like that Naruto managed to convince people enough that, like, basically, if Naruto believes in this enough, I'm going to believe in that. And just treat Mitsuki as if he's worth giving a second chance, because from Naruto's perspective, it's absolutely worth that. And then from Boruto's perspective, he's always considered Mitsuki a friend, but now he wants to get to know him better. And in a way, I think, that was like the core of the episode. It was going to Orochimaru's hideout, and it was Mitsuki, it was Boruto and Sarada discovering the nature of, like, what Mitsuki is. So seeing the test tubes with the other Mitsukis, and just knowing that he's an experiment. That's the nature of it. Yes, Orochimaru considers him his son, but it's such an unusual relationship. It's borderline not really too much of a parent-son relationship, but it kind of is. You can tell Orochimaru cares to a degree. But again, there is the whole fact of, like, Boruto initially thinking, like, oh, like, he's gone so you can just replace him. But in a way, it's Orochimaru just having this confidence of, like, yeah, I kind of expected this to happen. We'll just see how it goes. He's being nonchalant because that's just who Orochimaru is. And in a way, like, I was almost waiting for the moment that kind of didn't quite happen of just... You kind of got it towards the end where, like, Orochimaru referenced, like, Naruto. You're just like the Naruto of old, of, like, oh, I was kind of waiting for that moment of Orochimaru to just go, oh, I'm glad you kind of are showing so much care for my son. Kind of Orochimaru just realizing, wow, look how far things have come, where these people are trying to help out my son when I was always the villain. And that kind of links in with, I suppose, the Konohamaru scene, where he wants to immediately go after his whole team once it's revealed, of course, to everyone that Boruto and Sarada have left. And obviously what comes up here is that Konohamaru asked Naruto why he never told him that Mitsuki was Orochimaru's son. And the connection, and they obviously bring it back up here, is that, yes, Orochimaru killed Sarutobi. He killed Konohamaru's grandfather. And that's the connection there. And I actually like Naruto's point here of just, like, would things have changed if I had told you this before making you kind of captain of this team? And Konohamaru stops because he sort of realizes that, like, it probably would have. And Naruto's just like, I'm not asking you to try and forgive Orochimaru here, but Mitsuki isn't Orochimaru. Mitsuki didn't do any of that stuff. Like, because of the weird nature of Orochimaru and Mitsuki's connection, they're barely connected in some ways. And so he's basically saying, like, I wanted you to get to know Mitsuki before you knew all of that. So, like, you'd have this connection and then realize that Mitsuki isn't actually connected to Orochimaru in the way that you think he is. You can continue to hate Orochimaru for what he did, but don't take that out on Mitsuki, because, again, that's the whole shinobi world thing, again. That these rivalries, these grudges, these quests for revenge would go between generations, and it would just lead the world into a cycle of hatred. And so that's what's been so significant about what Naruto has done as Hokage, and I suppose what he's kind of urged the other Kage to do is to almost make these borderline crazy judgments as leader, and perhaps not punish people as much as you expect to, just to stop everything that's going on. So I did like that. As for, I suppose, the core of the episode in, like, the middle, where, like, Boruto asks Orochimaru to analyze the snake, he can't find anything in it. Then he comes out at the end and is like, okay, there might actually be, like, something to this, because this snake is a living thing. It has thoughts. It might be able to help you if you can discover what this snake is thinking. I can't do it, But do you know who can? Is the White Snake Sage. And initially I was like, okay, Sage mode, I know there's a Snake Sage mode, Kabuto. Are they talking about Kabuto? But Kabuto's in the village. He's like running the orphanage now after the Nami? Nagi? Like I keep forgetting which one is which between those ones. Izanagi, I think, is the like alter reality one, and then the Izanami is the like loop you can only get out of by like changing yourself, and I think that's the one Kabuto went through, and that's why he's kind of not a villain anymore as such. I think they're actually talking about the animal, so they're going to meet like a talking snake, who is the snake sage, who I would assume taught Kabuto how to become a have the snake sage mode, sage jutsu and so on. So that's interesting if we get there. Obviously, by the end of the episode, it's obviously they're confronted by Team Inoshika Cho, and Moegi's there as well. So that's what they're setting up. The preview is all about the fact that this is going to be Boruto and Sarada versus Team Inoshika Cho, which is crazy, obviously, because like Cho and Sarada are like best friends. Shikadai and Boruto obviously are friends, but they're also like rivals now because of what happened. Inojin is just kind of like there as part of the team. He doesn't have like the greatest connection with I think either of them, and then like Moegi's there as well as like this kind of like how powerful is she? Because obviously the thing with her is that she apparently has been revealed to have like wood style, but we've never seen her use it. There was no hint whatsoever in any other thing that she had wood style. In that, like, how did this happen? And it's not like it's some like mystery. In that, like, there are of course people who can have Kekkei Genkai. Of course, she's one of the characters we never really saw like do any ninja stuff because of that team. Those three characters that were Konohamaru's team. It was only him who ever really we saw develop as a character. Of course, we saw the other guy whose name I sort of forget. He has the whole kind of crazy snot power that's actually somewhat impressive what he can do with it. It's like a water style jutsu that's like syrup kind of based. So I think this is probably about time to have Moegi do this. Based on the preview, it looks like they're at least in part of the fight going to have Shikadai get the advantage over Boruto, stop him up short like he did previously before Boruto cheated, and we'll see where we go from there. It looks like the Inoshika Cho is going to see the snake, and I suppose the snake will be some level of proof that like Mitsuki hasn't just completely abandoned everyone, because the whole question with this is obviously like he left that snake behind for a reason. Like, if he just abandoned the village, he wouldn't have left anything at all. The fact that he's left that snake there that says, "my will," is him kind of saying that, like, I'm figuring this out. And it's not quite saying, like, come after me, but it's like, I'm dealing with something right now, almost like, come if you want. So, I think that's significant. I assume what's going to happen is that like the fights will probably actually end up getting quite heated because, overall you'd say that like Shikadai is kind of a match for Boruto for the most part. But like Inojin and Chocho aren't as powerful as I think either of Boruto or Sarada. So the 2-on-3 seems like an actually okay matchup. But obviously the teamwork of Inoshika Cho is going to bring them up. And then if Moegi is actually involving herself in the fight, that really pushes it in their advantage, especially if she has wood style. I'm assuming what they're going to do is that they will reveal she has wood style, but they'll use it as like she stops the fight by using wood style and getting in the way of everyone, and it'll be this kind of somewhat shocking reveal that, oh, okay, like she does actually have this kind of crazy power. Beyond that, I'm not really sure. Like, it looks like this arc is actually going to be fairly like long. Like this was the third episode of the arc, and it looks like I think we have like an hour special. I think next week, then we're off for like a week or two, and then I think we're back at the new time slot. So I don't really know. Will it be like just the next two episodes that kind of wrap everything up or not? I'm not sure, because we did see Mitsuki in this episode. Just a really brief glimpse of him looking up at the moonlight, and then the random people he's with who still haven't been explained, just telling him to kind of come with them, basically. So we still have no idea really what Mitsuki's doing outside of Orochimaru kind of feeling that this is him experimenting with maybe taking a darker path, just to see if that's maybe the path that he needs to go on. If that, like, he's artificially created. What if his will to like follow Boruto, be a Leaf Village shinobi, is also like artificially implanted in him, trying to find out what really truly is his driving force, his will, and that's what it's about. Obviously, the significance is that Boruto and Sarada, through all of this, now want to know him better. So the implication would be that when they meet him again, they'll have this connection and they'll listen to him a bit more. Because, yes, I think it has been part of the dynamic of the team that Mitsuki tends to talk. And because he's a bit of a weird character, everyone's just kind of like, yeah, Mitsuki, yeah, sure. Instead of actually listening to, like, actually there's some substance behind what he's saying, even though he's saying it in a weird way. So I think just improving that relationship, especially like Sarada, Mitsuki, not knowing that one too much. The other one I forgot, Karin is in this episode. We do get Sarada and Karin finally meeting. She just comes in to trick Yamato for a little bit to sort of like allow Sarada to get in to Orochimaru's lab with Boruto. Really brief interaction of just her realizing it's Karin, realizing it's the person from the picture with Sasuke, and then Karin mentioning, those glasses look good on you. So about what we expected, nothing along the lines of like, wait, you thought I was your mother, ha ha ha, or anything like that. It's just like, no, there's a closeness of like, basically I suppose the idea here is that this is like Aunt Karin, like for Sarada. That's the sort of relationship that we're kind of meant to see here out of this. So I think that that roughly I think makes sense for it. But it was still nice. Like, even though I don't think Orochimaru said as much as he maybe could have, it was still an interesting one to see such a notable villain from like early Naruto, just talking to the children of Naruto and Sasuke. Them not overly knowing the history of this character, of like Sarada not being aware of like, oh yeah, Sasuke spent like a long time, like Orochimaru basically trained like Sasuke to the point to make him sort of elite, and so on. But yeah, that's about all I want to say about the episode. I still really enjoy this arc. I hope they sort of, I suppose, improve the dialogue of like, don't dance around like a theme so much as they kind of did here with what Orochimaru was trying to say about Mitsuki. When you're actually committing to doing the Mitsuki development, be a little clearer about it. Actually make it notable in the dialogue and don't like over talk around it, I suppose is what I want, because they've had a tendency to do that, to stretch it out a little bit. But that's my thoughts on episode 73. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on the episode and what I had to say about it. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.